Okay, we're going to start in this lesson. We're going to learn a little bit about Photoshop, pasting layers, and the goal is to take an image of a president of our choosing, an image of the Oval Office, a photograph of ourselves, and paste them all together so it appears that we're inside the Oval Office. Under this current lesson, you're going to notice if you scroll down to the bottom, you have 3 links. The first link is Presidents 2. I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to select one image of the Oval Office. It does not matter which of the 3 images you select. I'll right-click and choose Download. And then I'm going to select one president. Again, it doesn't matter which president I choose. And I will right-click and choose Download. Go ahead, stop the recording, and do that at this time. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to find a photograph of ourselves that we took in class. I'm going to double click on the student section, and I'm going to go down here and I'm going to find this picture of me here, and I'll download it. Go ahead, download your picture at this time. So now that we've got those images in our download folder, I'm going to open up our download folder by going to File Explorer. I'm going to choose Downloads, and I'm going to find those 3 images. I'm going to go ahead and close out the Google Classroom because I won't need it for the remainder of this assignment. And I'm going to place those 3 images on my desktop. So I now have Bush, Oval Office, and image, in my case, 1437. I'm going to go to Select, or go to our Start button, and I'm going to find Adobe Photoshop. In my case, I've pasted it to my Start menu. But if you come down over here, you'll find Adobe Photoshop, Elements 15. This is not a full-blown version of Adobe Photoshop, but it does everything we want it to do. It's part of a suite, and when we load it, it'll bring up this screen here. It's part of a suite that includes Video Editor, the Organizer, and Photoshop. Organizer is free. You have to pay for the photo editor and the video editor. We don't own the video editor, but we do own 40 copies in this room of Photoshop Elements. And when you open it up, make sure you maximize it and fill up your screen. Go ahead and open up Photoshop at this time. Once you've opened up Photoshop, you're going to see across the top there are 4 tabs. eLive, which is the first tab, and if you click on that tab, it's going to say it can't find the server right now for some reason. Quick, which is a quick editor, and the reason that yours might have looked different than the one I opened up could be because you used the quick editor. The next one is Guided, which gives you a whole bunch of resources in terms of tutorials as to what you can do with effects to a photograph. And then Expert. You need to make sure that everything we do is in expert mode. So select the expert mode right now and verify that across the left-hand side you have a double column of tools over here. If you don't have a screen open over here, it's not a big deal. You're going to make sure that the layers are open by selecting Windows and Layers. You may only open layers in the expert mode. Go ahead and check and verify that you've done that at this time. So we've got those 3 images on our desktop, and I'm going to open all 3 of them up by going to File, Open. I'll navigate to my desktop, and I'm going to find Bush. I'll click on it. Image 1435. I'm going to do Control click on it, and then I should have an Oval Office one. And I didn't want Oval Office 3. I thought I downloaded another Oval Office. Here we go, Oval Office. So I've got the 3 images I saved on my desktop. I'm going to open all 3 of them at once by click, Control click, and open. I could have just as easily opened them each one at a time, but this was quicker and easier. Go ahead, stop the recording and do that at this time. Okay, I'm going to select, you'll notice across the bottom, after I've opened them up, I see all 3 images, and across the top I have a tab for all 3 images too. If I click on this one, I'll move from image to image. But I'm going to start by selecting the Oval Office. Since this is going to be the background for my image, I'm going to use this as kind of the base. And I need to find out how big this image is and what its resolution is. So I'm going to choose Image, Resize, Image Size. And it will open up a dialog box that will look like this. And I can see that this image is 72 pixels per inch. That's left and right and top and bottom. And I can also see that it's 11 inches by 8 inches. So I'm going to write this down real quick. My resolution is 72. My width is, I'll say 11, and my height is 8. I just need to know the ballparks because I'm going to have to do some guesstimating in a few moments. And I'm just going to close that. Now I'm going to come over to my picture of a president that I chose. And I'm going to see what the size of that image is by going to Image, Resize, Image Size, the same skill that I practiced before. And I see it's 72 inches, and it's only 2 inches tall. So I need to guesstimate how tall I want this image to be. So if this is 8 inches tall, and George Bush is standing here, his head probably needs to go all the way up to about here. And I can see that that is roughly half the height of this image, right? If I'm looking down here, that top quarter off, the bottom quarter off, he's going to stand within the center quarter. So I'll go back to George Bush. Oop, don't want to get there yet. No one wants to see that. I will go back to George Bush, and I'm going to change his height by going Image, Resize, Image Size. I've been here before, right? I make sure it's 72 pixels, and I need to make sure all 3 of these boxes are checked. Because what that will do is that if I change the height, it will change the width relative to my new height. And his height is 4.3 inches. That works pretty well with my 8-inch image, doesn't it? I don't have to change anything. So I'll just select OK, and I now have my president. I'm going to inverse this image because I'm standing on the opposite side. I don't want us both facing the same direction. To inverse this image, I'm going to choose Image, Rotate. Let's try this again. Image, Rotate, and I'm going to flip horizontally. Bam. President Bush is now facing the other direction. I'm going to use my Marquee Select tool. And I'm going to highlight the whole image. And you'll notice I'll get the dancing ants around here. So go ahead and get your image to that point right now. So we selected our Marquee Select tool, and we clicked and dragged the box around the image of the president. And remember, clicking and dragging means you click the left mouse button down while continuing to hold it down. You drag it to another position in the screen, and you've blocked that. I'm going to hold down Control and tap C to copy. Edit, paste. So I now have the president in the Oval Office. At this point in time, I can use my Select tool, and you'll notice I've got a box around him. I can move him around the Oval Office. I think he's too tall for that spot of the Oval Office. And I can resize him by moving the corners here. Once I'm done resizing him, I'm going to go ahead and choose the check mark down here. If I want to throw away what I did, I can choose the little circle with a line through it. And I now have President Bush pasted inside the Oval Office. The next lesson, we're going to step up and we're going to cut ourselves out of the background of the image that we took of ourselves on the green screen and paste it in the Oval Office also. So this concludes the end of the lesson.